like so many handbags just came in and out of my life like nobody's business. I mean, you guys have seen. I think a lot of people find handbag collecting stupid because it is so like disconnected from what's actually happening. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. Thought I'd talk about today the last 2 years of my life in terms of my handbag habits and what I think has caused me to slightly become addicted to handbags, and maybe you guys can relate to some of these things as well, because I think it's good to be aware of like why you feel certain ways and maybe the person you want to be in the future. And I know for myself, I've made a lot of mistakes with becoming too obsessed with handbags, and I wanted to talk about maybe what caused that today. And I don't know, maybe you can relate to it, maybe you can't. You know guys, like the last few years there has been a pandemic. It did impact my job in particular, and in Melbourne we were locked down for quite some time, which I was not used to. I'm used to being able to, I guess, go to yoga, maybe go to the gym. For me, that was like something that was keeping my mental health in check a little bit. I was used to, I guess, socializing, that sort of thing. And for me, the last few years where we were locked down for really long periods of time, I almost had blanked it out of my memory, which I don't know why that's happened to me, but a lot of people were saying that they found they started shopping less after the pandemic happened because they realized like they changed up their priorities basically. But for me, I realized that shopping was always a kind of coping mechanism. So it actually heightened my shopping addiction even more. And I think the whole handbag obsession thing really, it's almost, I don't know if it's peaked, but I feel like it became more of a thing, particularly because of the pandemic. And there are many reasons why I think that this is. Now, during the lockdown period, I think a lot of us were just plain bored. Like even like I was working the whole time, guys, but I was still like searching for something exciting to happen. Like, you know, we couldn't go to a party or whatever, so I found a lot of comfort in collecting handbags and like seeing the new Louis Vuitton releases and like what was coming out. That was for me such an outlet. And I know that's really sad to say, but handbags like gave me life. Like they were the things that made me like want to wake up in the morning. Like I was constantly thinking about handbags, and it didn't help that I worked in like luxury stores where I was surrounded by handbags all the time. And then, like, guys, for me, I was always surrounded by handbags, and I still am with my current job, which has not helped my handbag addiction, to be honest. But I was always constantly surrounded by handbags, and then on my breaks, I would be looking at handbags on Instagram. You know, I'd go home, I'd watch handbag videos, and completely obsessed with handbags. And I sometimes question myself, like, why am I so obsessed with handbags? And a lot of the time, I think it is slightly a little bit of an escape for me. I have had a lot of feelings towards myself of like, I guess, I talk down to myself a lot. I've had that a lot throughout my teenage years. I would always be very self-conscious of the way I looked, or like whether I would be successful, and I often talk negatively towards myself, and that's something that I've had to work through being an adult. And I think a lot of people have to deal with that. But sometimes if I'm by myself too long, I find that I go into this kind of really negative mindset, and the only thing that gets me out of it is like literally staring at handbags or like something exciting or like collecting something. So I'm kind of somebody who has always had to collect something as a distraction from like my own brain, because I found that I can actually be a little bit self-destructive towards myself. And I think a lot of people during the lockdown and like this whole pandemic, if they do suffer with like things like negative thoughts and that sort of thing, it really did not help having the lockdown. It actually made like you forced to like listen to your own thoughts. And I think that's why people became a little bit more into collectibles and, you know, things like handbags and Pokemon cards and even like pop vinyls and things during the pandemic, because it was a distraction for us to not focus on other things that were happening that were maybe more concerning. And that's why I think a lot of people find handbag collecting stupid because it is so like disconnected from what's actually happening, but it is a form of escape, I think, for a lot of people, and it creates like a fantasy world of like, I don't know, a lavish lifestyle, luxury, and I almost feel like wearing a luxury handbag transports me to this like, I don't know, like fancy lifestyle, like fantasy. It makes me feel like a runway model or something. Like, I don't know how it makes me feel, but it makes me feel super fancy and like I can do anything if I have a designer handbag, which I don't know if that's probably just something in my head, but I think that's why a lot of people are addicted to handbags, because it gives them that like little high when they wear it. And also the act of like searching for that next handbag and fantasizing about what to get next or curating the most perfect collection. It is like a really big distraction from your actual life. And I found like the last 2 years of my life really flew by because I was so distracted by handbags the whole time, and like so many handbags just came in and out of my life like nobody's business. I mean, you guys have seen, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like what even happened right now? And my most favorite handbag in my collection, guys, has got to be my Gabrielle backpack, because this was something that I bought, and when I bought it, I just like could not get over how expensive it was. And I always keep this handbag because it really transports me back to like 2018, before all this stuff happened, and I was a little bit more naive to designer bags back then, and I was really careful with my money. I used to save my money a lot, and I think the last few years of my life, I've been really lavish with my money. And, you know, I think everyone goes, not everybody, but I think some people do go through phases like that where they really spend a little bit too much because maybe something else is happening on in their life and they need it to do it to make them feel better. I don't know, guys. I'm not saying I'm depressed or anything. I've never been depressed, like diagnosed depressed or anything. I mean, maybe in high school I was a little bit, but I do think that the pandemic definitely heightened the handbag addiction thing for a lot of people. So now, kind of as we're starting to come out of it, I mean, there is still a lot of stuff happening. Obviously, there's always stuff happening in the world, and a lot of people are stressed. And I've continued to make YouTube videos even though, despite all the bad things happening in the world, because I know it is a really good escape for a lot of people. And it is obviously not the most healthy thing to spend money on bags, but I do think there are worse things. And if like handbag videos make people feel that little bit better to watch, or to like get them out of that mindset that like the world is ending, or like they're the ugliest person in the world, or like, you know, they feel negatively about themselves or what's happening, I think that it's okay to have these like little distractions in our lives that like perk us up. So for me, like, I think handbags can be like a good minor addiction, like anything, like drinking a glass of wine. It can be okay to have one glass of wine, but obviously you don't want to be an alcoholic. I think it's the same with handbags. So I think it can be something that can really change your mood, and it can make you really happy. But yeah, it's all about a balance, and I'm still trying to find that balance in myself. And I think that the pandemic really threw me off balance with my handbag collecting, and that's why it's been so hectic, basically. And I am starting to let some bags go, and kind of let go those feelings that I need those handbags to feel, I don't know. I like, honestly, I feel the same way having 4 handbags as I do to like having 40 handbags. I don't feel any happier or more sad having 4 compared to 40. So I find a lot of joy in just appreciating having less handbags. But if you prefer to have 100 handbags, then I think that's great as well. But recently I've just found that like I actually find it quite refreshing to have a little less. Particularly when I'm getting ready in the morning. Sometimes I'm freaking out because I can't find my wallet, and I have to look through all my handbags to find my wallet. And last year I had about 40 handbags, and like getting ready and like grabbing a bag was an absolute nightmare, because like all my stuff was like in all my little bags, and to sort through 40 handbags is just a nightmare. Now I've got like about 20 or so, so it feels a lot better for me at this point. I actually still think I have a little too many, but yeah, I am realizing as time goes by, I'm reflecting on like how I feel, and why I've collected so much is probably from my own coping mechanism of what's happening with my life and whatever. And I really want to, I guess, achieve more things in my life than collecting handbags. I would really love to one day start my own business or something. I think that would be awesome. And I'm really trying to focus on more positive things in the future and try and see myself and like the person I want to be in the future as well. Like, who do I want to be? I mean, yeah, I would love to have, you know, my little Birkin or my Kelly when I'm older and, you know, be a successful businesswoman or something. That is honestly probably my dream, be a really fashionable businesswoman, but I think it could be possible. So I just like focusing on that recently. Yeah, but I think the pandemic, I think as time goes by as well, when people start realizing that maybe a lot of people went a bit crazy with their handbags during this whole pandemic, and I think people are starting to realize that it was a bit insane, like what the mood we were all in during this point, because as time goes by, like these kind of trends to collect certain things do fade. I know there was a period of time where a lot of people were collecting makeup and, as I said, Pokemon cards, and these things kind of like, there's always people who still collect those things, but the hype starts to fade. So I can see that eventually happening with handbags as well. And I'm starting to let go a little bit of some of my pieces as time goes by. So yeah, I'm still going to be obsessed with handbags. I think also, given that I work in a consignment store, it really feeds my addiction more. I think if I didn't work in a handbag shop, I would probably buy a lot less bags, to be honest. I think it's just because I've been placed in that environment for many years. It has definitely increased my need to buy handbags. And I think if I didn't have that tendency where I felt the need to collect things all the time, I wouldn't be as impacted. Like, obviously, like people I work with don't behave the same way as me. But yeah, if you do have that personality trait, yeah, maybe the pandemic did spark that within you. But yeah, I guess now I'm trying to like focus on different things a little bit. I'm still addicted to handbags, guys. I don't know what to say, but I am learning things as I go. As time goes by, I think I've learned a lot, and I've realized like the emotional stress I put myself through over the past few years, and things don't really need to be this complicated. So anyways, that was a really blabby video. It feels like a therapy session for me, guys. So I hope you enjoyed listening to me blab. Not sure if I ever really made any sense in that whole video, but anyways, guys, thanks for watching my video anyways, and I'll talk to you on my next one. Bye!